Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it reads like this. Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I am a young woman. Currently, I am aged only 26 years old, and my confession, it goes on like this. I never thought that there was a day that was going to come whereby I'll end up going to visit a traditional healer so that I can do something bad against another woman who is like me. And I started dating my current husband. This was after when we had met, and after I had met with him, he then saw it fit to lie to me that he was not a married man. He only mentioned his wife only each and every time, and after I would have asked him if he didn't have any kids at all, and he said that he suspected that all of his children that he had with his ex-wife were not his children, but it was nothing but a lie. When I would say, what happened between you and your wife, he would say that I do not want to talk about it because she hurt me a lot, and he will say that what happened between me and her, it is none of your business. He would always give me a lot of run-arounds. So I thought that maybe his wife did something to him, since he was saying that his children, he suspected that they were not his. And a lot of people, like my friend, had said to me, if you see that your man that you are dating does not want to speak about his wife, probably it is because of the things that happened between him and his wife. So I decided to let it go, and I decided to focus on my relationship with him. But deep down in my heart, I kept on feeling that there was something wrong. This man, I just thought that he was married, but I stopped asking him anything that had to do about his wife. We continued dating. I only realized 2 months later that I had fallen pregnant for him, and I was kind of like scared, and the way that the hormones were affecting me, I didn't want to tell him that I was pregnant, since I was carrying a boy and I gave birth to a boy. I hated him from the day that I found out that I had fallen pregnant for him. I didn't want to be anywhere close to him. So for 2 months, I didn't tell him about the pregnancy. In the 3rd month, he kept on saying that you are pregnant when he would be touching my stomach. I only agreed that I was pregnant in the 4th month of our pregnancy. And when he said that you are pregnant, and when I said yes, I am pregnant, he said, why didn't you tell me in time? And I was like, the pregnancy hormones, they were the ones. So he started complaining, and those pregnant hormones just kicked in. Me and him, we started insulting each other. He then rose up from the bed where we were sleeping, and he went back to his wife. When he went back to his wife, I was really hurt, because on that day, that was when he admitted that he had a wife, and he said that I was supposed to have an abortion. I said, I am not going to remove that pregnancy because you used me even though you knew that you had a wife. Now I am 4 months pregnant, and you want me to remove this baby that I am carrying. What if I die? What is going to happen? So I refused. He then said that he was never going to make a preparation for. He then said that if I was going to keep this pregnancy, then I was going to make a plan for myself. So from 5 months until I was 9 months, he didn't speak with me. It was only after he had found out that I had given birth to a boy that he came and he gave a name to the boy that I had given birth to. And he said that he wanted to make me his second wife. So even though I had hidden this fact from my mom, but she later found out that this man was a married man. And I also told my mom that I only got to know that he was a married man. This was after I had fallen pregnant for him. My mom then said that if you are going to become the second wife if you are going to become a second wife to him, then you need to be very careful, because usually what happens is that women that are involved in these polygamous relationships, they use charms against each other. So my mom then said that as for you, you are very unlucky, because you know that your mom is like a Christian, and I do not know anything about charms. So she just So my mom suggested that I should pray and pray a lot. She then said that whenever you feel that there is something bad in your life, just pray, my child. This is what my mom told me. So I was left alone with my child and my husband, and we were sharing the duties. My husband will sometimes go and stay with his first wife, then sometimes he would be with me. Then, since my mom had told me that charms are always used when you are involved with another wife, since my mom had scared me and told me that I needed to be very careful, I was always scared of witches, and I never thought that I'll end up visiting a traditional healer. But one day it happened that my husband and I, when we were making love, then I saw that his manhood was no longer working. And when I asked him why his manhood was not working, I was really angry at him, and I said, so this means that when you were with your wife, you slept with her first before you came here. That is why you do not have any strength at all to sleep with me. I insulted him a lot, and he remained quiet, and I thought that this was the truth. When he saw that I was now quiet, he said that, for a very long time I thought that it was you who had been using some charms on me, but I have realized that it is my first wife that has been using charms on me. I said, what do you mean? He then said that he had been missing one of his boxer shorts, and he didn't know where this boxer short was at. So he had thought that maybe I was the one who had stolen it. But he then said that one day when he was at his first wife's place, he then started looking around in their bedroom. He then found out that there was another brown plastic bag, and this brown plastic bag, it was really smelly, and he thought that maybe there was something that had gone bad in there. And when he opened it up, he saw the shock of his life. Inside that brown plastic bag, he saw that there was a rat that had died a very long time ago that was smelling. In fact, it was even getting dry, and underneath that rotting rat that had been tied inside that black plastic bag, there was a paper that had my name written on it, as well as a red G-string that was inside that plastic bag. But this G-string, it was sewed together with that rat that was rotting. Then there were a lot of charms that were inside there, and he then said that just close to the place where that G-string was, there was another doll. This doll, it was made to look like it was a private part. It was also tied with this other charm, and this charm that was tied on that doll that was made to look like a manhood. Then my husband said that it was what he felt whenever he was with me. He would feel like there was a rope that was tying his manhood, and it was really painful. That is why each and every time that he would be on top of me, he would lose all feelings to sleep with me. He then confronted his wife, and his wife pretended as if he knew nothing about it. My husband, when he told me this story, I started crying, and he comforted me, and he said that everything was fine since his first wife had thrown away the charms. So I kept on thinking about what my mom had told me about these polygamous marriages, and I then started looking around, like in that neighborhood where me and my husband are staying. There were some women who told me about this other traditional healer that they also visited. So I went there to that traditional healer. This was like the first time ever consulting with a herbalist. Then that herbalist told me everything that I was supposed to do. The herbalist then gave me some herbs that I was supposed to use. These herbs, what I was supposed to do was to place them inside my private parts. Each and every time when my husband would come visiting me, I should place those green herbs inside my private parts. He then said that this was not enough because I had to go and get something that belonged to my husband's first wife. I said, how am I going to do it? Traditional healer then said that the woman whom he had given me the name, then that woman was the one who was going to assist me. I later found out that this name that the traditional healer had given me, this name was of a woman who was an enemy of my husband's first wife. After I had found out about her, I then pretended one day that I wanted to go and buy some vegetables at her house because she sold a lot of vegetables as well as some onions. After she had sold the vegetables to me, I then then asked for her numbers, and we then started talking. One day I invited her to my place. So whilst we were talking on WhatsApp, she kept on telling me that the reason as to why vegetables were not being bought like the way that they used to, it was because my husband's first wife, she was a witch and they hated each other, and I knew that this was an opportunity for me to ask for her assistance. So Brother Nashi, after she had promised me that she was going to assist me, she came to my place and we spoke like on what we were supposed to do. She said it was going to be a very difficult thing, but she would try to do it. So what she did is that one day when she saw that her neighbor, who was my husband's first wife, had done like a washing, she waited when she had gone out, and when she had left her clothes on the washing line, she jumped over the Jurawo and she went into her yard and she stole one of her underwears, but she stole also some of the clothes so as to make it look like there was a thief that had entered into her yard when no one was around. She then took some of the clothes, some of them she gave me. She gave me my husband's wife's daughter's dress. That is the one that I ended up going with, even though the traditional healer had not told me about bringing this dress that belonged to that woman's daughter. The rest of the clothes I advised her to go and throw it into the bushes, and that is what she did. Then Brother Nashi, when I returned back to that traditional healer taught me how I was supposed to stitch that underwear that had been stolen by my new friend. And as I was teaching that underwear, then that traditional healer told me that I was supposed to mention all the bad stuff that I wanted to happen to her. I then said that my husband, when he was with her, he was never to enjoy like making love to her, and I didn't want my husband to listen to her. I wanted my husband to be very violent towards her. Then that traditional healer stopped me and he said that the curse that you have said, it is not going to work with what you are doing. I said, what do you mean? And he then said that if you want to control your husband's mind, then you need to perform another charm, and I had to pay more money. At that time, I didn't have enough money, so I then went back home. And when I went back home, I then found out that now my husband was complaining because he came back to my place one day and he said that he didn't understand what was happening to his first wife. I then said, what is happening to your first wife? And he said that when he was sleeping with his first wife, he found out that there was a lot of discharge that was coming out of her, and I knew that the charms had successfully worked on my husband and he was now mine. All that I needed was to control his mind. I returned back quickly to that traditional healer after I had begged my husband for some money. I lied to him that I wanted to start a small business, but I used that money to go back to that traditional healer and I gave it to him and I asked him to perform the other charms for me, and he said, no, these charms I cannot perform it for you. You have to do it all by yourself. Then that traditional healer told me that for 3 days I was supposed to, like, when I would go into the toilet to do poo, I was supposed to take like a dustpan, the one that you use when you are sweeping the house, and I was not supposed to do the poo inside the toilet seat, but I had to do it whilst I was squatting and just placing that dustpan between like my back so that the poo can fall into that dustpan. After doing that, I had to find a place where no one will see the poo. Then I had to dry it. The next day as well, when I would want to go to the loo, then I had to do that same process. For 3 days I was supposed to do it. And when the poo would be completely dry, he said at least after 2 weeks, that is when you are supposed to bring the poo here so that we can make a plan. So I did this for 3 days and I was always covering this poo. I took 2 metal sheets. During the day, I would open the top metal sheet, then I would let the poo to dry. When it was in the evening, then I would place the other metal sheet on top of the poo, then cover it with some heavy bricks so that no dogs or cats can eat the poo during the evening. When I saw that the poo was completely dry, I then returned back to that traditional healer. He then gave me some charms that we use in our culture for grinding, but it was a small tool that he gave me. So I started grinding whilst I was sitting cross-legged as he had instructed me to do. I grinded until everything was now powdered in a powdered form. He took it and he went outside, and when he returned, I saw that he had mixed everything with a lot of herbs. He said that I was supposed to take some of that poo mixed with herbs and place it, just a little bit of the powder, inside a cup, and I was supposed to fill it up with water, and I was supposed to drink it whilst I was sitting cross-legged like that, and I was not supposed to show that everything that I was drinking, it was nasty. I had to smile. I had to show that I was really enjoying everything that I was doing so that the charms can work. I did it, Brother Nashi, but I felt like vomiting when I kept on thinking that this was my own poo that I was drinking. But me wanting to control my husband's mind, it gave me that lot of confidence to do it, even though it was really hard. After I finished that cup that was full of water mixed with the powdered poo, he then said that you can return back home and you are supposed to cook some food, and when you cook this food, you are supposed to cook this food with love, smiling, and when you are eating with your husband, then I advise you that you eat from the same plate, and when you are eating, at least try to be romantic with him. And as I was busy cooking that poo, Brother Nashi, this took me about a month whilst I was preparing this food, and each and every time when I would cook this food, I would eat it with my husband. But at the end of the day, I won my husband. Right now, my husband, when he is with me, he is more like a zombie. He has no mind of his own, and I am the one who controls his wallet. When I want him to go like to his wife and to give his wife grocery money, if I feel like it, then I will allow him. But when I do not feel like it, I just tell him that you are not going anywhere. You are not leaving this house. Wherever I am, my husband is with me because of the charms that I used on him.